Hello and welcome back to Virtue's Last Reward. In the last episode, I completed what was the director's office, and now we can just continue on. Yes, there's no real reason for me to be here any longer. The door lock. It says lock right now. You guys ready? Yeah. Go for it. Alright. 3, 2, 1. I found the way out. So, what's gonna happen now to the remaining occupants? Another one-way door. That was the laboratory right there, the room to the right.
No!
What? No what?
Damn it!
What's wrong?
I left something in the director's office.
What the? Oh, the picture.
What was it?
The picture. Ugh, how could I forget it?
I mean, I was thinking the same thing, like, why are you still just leaving it there, but oh well. Oh yeah, you must have set it down after using the face recognition thing.
Yeah, I'm going back. You two go on ahead to the warehouse.
Okay.
I want to come with you.
Me too.
Nah, that's fine. Why don't you head back to the warehouse, Sigma? The others are probably already waiting.
Alright. I'll see you two later then.
Right.
Bye, Mr. Sigma.
See ya. I watched them jog off toward the blue door. And then they were gone. Guess I should be getting back then. I don't like this. This is definitely the Tenmyouji ending, with his picture and everything. Just happen to look over and I can see someone patiently waiting to go out. I love how I start the recording and within minutes. So once this comes to an end, I'll, no, the movement, then I'll let him out. Welcome back to Warehouse A, I guess. Un momento, por favor. I stepped in the warehouse to find all the other teams already there. Kay and Luna. Phi and Clover. And Dio. The moment Dio spotted me, he dashed out of the rightmost... over to the rightmost AB room and slid his card through the reader. At least he has some patience now. Still a massive prick, though. Going right in to betray.
An ambidex gate has been opened.
I wonder what the thing with Tenmyouji and Quark is gonna be. Like, are they gonna be stuck there or something?
45 minutes remain until ambidex game polling closes.
Or is Tenmyouji going to flare up with Radical 6 all of a sudden, and then Quark is gonna start panicking? As he turned to look at me, I swore I saw a flash of a smug grin.
There. Happy? This time I waited for you to get back before I opened it.
Thanks.
You see? I can be considerate.
But Tenmyouji and Quark aren't here.
Yeah, where are they?
I guess they forgot something back in the room we found. They ran back to grab it real quick.
And they'll be here in a few minutes. No big deal.
While we waited, we exchanged information about the rooms we'd investigated. Unfortunately, none of it seemed very useful. None of us had found anything, and we were no closer to unraveling any of the increasing number of mysteries we were faced with. That discussion exhausted, we sat down to wait. Before long, 20 minutes had passed since Dio opened the door, and Tenmyouji and Quark were now in sight. There we are.
Don't you think they're taking a little long?
Wait, did it say nowhere in sight? Yeah, we're nowhere in sight. Why did I read it in sight? Yeah, I just had to grab a single picture.
Yes, I'm getting worried. What if something happened to them?
I'll go have a look.
Then I shall accompany you.
Okay. Alright, fine. Nah, I'll be fine by myself. It's not that far away.
Just don't look into the abyss too long, or you might become a monster.
That's... I don't think... Okay. Look, I'm just going to the director's office. I'll be right back. No big deal. Right? See you guys later. I gave a quick goodbye wave and stepped out of the warehouse. I still have no idea what the other room, other white door is. We know the director's office. We've been in there twice. We've been in the media-ish room with Phi. What's that other room that was never completed by Quark, Tenmyouji, and Clover? That one, I think. The box. I think. I don't like how silent this is. Good fucking god, the creepy music again. Oh, oh yeah, no, I was about to say, the balloon popped. I forgot that I did that. Huh? The picture is gone. That's odd. There's nobody here. The picture's gone, though. Tenmyouji and Quark must have been here, then. I laid out the floor B map. Okay, so, thinking about this logically, K somehow acquires the key to the Golem Bay that was opened after the fact. The only person that I would expect to open the Golem Bay would be Zero, who we think is Kurashiki, who we now know is Tenmyouji's lover, or previous love, who maybe it is. Maybe there's a chance that it isn't actually Junpei. Tenmyouji isn't Junpei. Maybe. Be interesting. But there's... Maybe Tenmyouji opened it because he knows this place as well. But K also has the memory of this entire facility by itself. He's lived here. Laid out the floor B map. They must have taken the door that faces the warehouse. After that, they probably went through the warehouse and out the blue door to the elevator. Yep, just from here and back in. I don't know why I went through the red door. Yeah, that's a much shorter route. On the other hand, I came through the red door, which is kind of the long way around. Huh. Looks like we managed to miss each other perfectly. So I'm gonna go back? Ugh. Well, this was a huge waste of time. Shoot. Might as well head back, I suppose. I packed up the map and was headed toward the door when... Huh? There was a light on where there hadn't been a light before. That's a light? That's a light? What? Why is that thing on? We messed with it earlier, but nothing seemed to work. I felt a sudden wave of inexplicable, nauseating dread. The light stared at me. I swallowed and edged closely toward it. The machine was in arm's reach now. I stretched my hand out toward it, slowly. Slowly.
So, you finally made it.
Who has that hair? The coat design? But why do you have a bracelet? What? I would have thought that this was brother or a Dio's original copy or whatever, but why do you have a bracelet? No. You're...
I am Zero.
Okay. So then why is Kurashiki here? And why does she have the code to this? Are you Kei's father?
I was the one who brought you here. You undoubtedly have as many questions for me as there are stars in the sky.
Yes.
As you can see, however, this is only a recording. I will therefore be unable to directly answer any questions. Ask if you wish, but I cannot respond.
Ugh. I considered taking a swing at him, but decided that was spectacularly futile and kept my balled fist at my side.
Now, where to begin? There are many things I wish to tell you, but unfortunately, our time is limited.
Why do you have one exposed arm, but one gloved? One sleeve pulled up, one down.
As such, the information I can provide is also limited. I have chosen two things of great importance to tell you. First, I will tell you about termites.
Okay, that explains the gold file.
In retrospect, I suppose that's a rather odd thing to say.
Yes.
I imagine you look rather bewildered right now. Perfectly understandable. The person who kidnapped you and threatened you with death is lecturing you about insects. I suspect it hardly seems fair. Nonetheless, this is very important. In a way, it will determine your fate. So I ask that you listen carefully. Have you ever seen a termite mound?
I think once. Not in the wild, but well, obviously at, like, the zoo and stuff, but, like, I think I had someone bring in, like, and showcase it or something, like, for biology or something, some class.
They are splendid structures. Some might even call them works of art. Termites are natural architects, and their mounds are both structurally sound and make excellent use of space. So, are they following some sort of plan as they build? Are there termite blueprints detailing which room goes where? No, of course not. Each termite is simply an oblivious cog in a tremendous machine programmed by millions of years of termite DNA. It is doubtful an individual termite has any idea what its contributions are helping to create. But a human does. We can appreciate the elegant forms of their alien cathedrals. We can see the simple beauty of their perfect functionality. We can understand the splendid planning of their structure. In other words, only an intelligence of a higher order can understand the beauty of what the termite builds.
So, aliens would look at our buildings and think they look spectacular? Is this what we're supposed to be getting at, or some stupid shit?
Now, consider humans.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we alive? Why do we love and give birth? Why do we create? From where do our cultures spring?
Basic biology. Ever since the beginning of time, species on Earth that live and breathe and reproduce literally have that one function. And then, as time went on, evolution started to, like, affect the human brain from primates. And instead of physical strength or, like, speed or something that we traded off, we use that as long-term memory, emotions, short-term memory, that sort of shit. So then we discover what consciousness is and personalities and that type of shit and why they're all different. It's just an evolutionary trait. It doesn't really mean anything. At the end of the day, we're all just apes. Some hairless, some with hair, some with white skin, some with black skin, some with genitalia that looks like an elephant's trunk, some that have it looks like a bison's skull on the inside. We're all different, but the main function of humans originally was to just fucking reproduce. And then once that kind of got brushed aside after society kind of blossomed in a way, we then focused on trying to elongate our lives, and then that turned into comfortable living in the elongated lives. And then once that was kind of completed, then we kind of just looked for a purpose, and that purpose is kind of hard for people to just grasp, that we were literally just meant to fuck. That's kind of what humans were supposed to be, but now we try and give ourselves a different purpose or whatever. So, what kind of logic are you springing on me, Zero?
There are many theories, but no one knows the truth. We are oblivious tiniest cogs in a tremendous machine programmed by millions of years of human DNA.
Mm-hmm. And we're also a disease on the planet.
No doubt you see now what this analogy is supposed to illustrate. Yes, I mean to say humans are not different from termites.
Yes, and like 46% of our DNA or some random number is shared with that of a banana. So I don't know what you're getting at.
We trudge through our lives with no greater understanding of our ultimate goal. You might say we don't understand what we're building. Only an intelligence of a higher order than ours can understand what we're doing. Imagine how we might look to such an intelligence. We may be building some structure so perfect and elegant, we can't even perceive it. Whatever it is, we've likely been building it on a dimension just above the ones we know since time immemorial. If we are like the termites, then what we've created is almost certainly something of tremendous beauty.
I think you're giving humans too much credit. Like, this is like self-praise that I don't think deserves to be here.
And you are about to catch a glimpse of it. Or have you already? Well, that's enough on that subject, I think.
Is this supposed to be like human society restarts and then we're supposed to like literally redo everything again? Is that what we're trying to go through?
Consider what I've said. Now, let's move on to the second topic. It is somewhat more immediately meaningful to your life, and, in fact, the lives of several billion other people. I realize this is rather sudden, but I have a password for you.
Password. Okie dokie. Time to bring out the phone.
It is the password to disarm the bomb, numbered 1.
Yes, this is right. I was trying to remember which bombs I had the numbers to. It was 0, 2, and 3. Okay. Bomb?
Are you ready? I will only say this once,
Oh.
so pay close attention. The password to disarm the number 1 bomb is BQZ RGJ DXR.
Alright, that is saved in my phone. I was wondering when we were going to acquire that. I had no idea what he was talking about. What bomb? Was he saying there were bombs, too? If he'd guessed at my future confusion, he'd showed no sign of it.
That is the last of the information this message was meant to convey.
Yeah. So, if you're aware of the number 1 bomb, and you refer to it as the number 1 bomb, and there should be more 0 and, Theo's counterparts? I don't fucking know. It's all gonna be spelled out later.
Before I go, however, I have a warning.
What's up?
You cannot tell any of your companions what you heard or saw here.
Why?
If you do, you will be penalized immediately. I hope we will meet again someday. We would have much to discuss.
Are you still even alive? Wait! God damn it, you can't just spout all that crap and disappear. I found myself yelling at empty air. So did Tenmyouji and Quark also see this? The hologram had disappeared. But why did you have a bracelet? What kind of idiot does he take me for? Termites? Other dimensions? How could that have anything to do with kidnapping us? Shit. I kicked out a nearby shelf.
10 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes. All players, please enter your votes. If no vote is recorded before the deadline has passed, any non-voting parties will automatically ally.
Ah, crap. I need to get back. Not like there's any point staying here. Where the fuck are Tenmyouji and Quark? I spun around and ran out of the room, toward the warehouse. Okay.
Grandpa! Look! Mr. Sigma's back!
Okay, so we're back at warehouse A, because the magenta, yellow, and cyan.
Took you long enough.
Where are the others?
In the AB rooms.
They went in already?
Yep.
Why didn't you two? Have you been waiting for me?
Yeah! Grandpa said there was something he had to tell you before we voted, no matter what.
What? Oh?
Nothing that significant. Just wanted to tell you we're going to choose ally this round.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
And you had to tell me that no matter what? Seems kind of pointless. I mean, words are cheap. You can promise whatever you want.
True, but we've got something to back it up. Just hear me out.
Okay. Go ahead.
Quark and I both have 8 BP.
Mm-hmm.
We're already on the home stretch.
Right.
So what do we need to get to the magic number? Well, we need you to choose ally. If you do that, it doesn't really matter to us what we pick.
You'd get 9 whether you got 2 or 3 points.
Exactly. That being the case, we don't have any reason to betray you. And if we both choose ally, we both gain points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if I betray, I get up to 6, and then you guys go down to 6, and then if we get paired up again, then we can all... Well, no, actually, it would just go up by 2. That wouldn't work. True, but you must have considered that I'll choose betray. That would mean that you'd choose betray to protect yourselves.
That's why we're telling you we won't choose betray.
Mm-hmm.
Can I trust you?
Of course.
Alright. Tell me one thing. Let's say we do this and both ally. Everybody gets 2 points. That means you and Quark will have enough to leave, which is great for you. But I'll be stuck with a measly 5. How do I know you aren't going to just open the number 9 door and leave us in the
I
lurch?
can guarantee it.
How?
I can give you my word. I will not open the number 9 door, even if I have enough points to do so. I swear it. We aren't going to abandon everybody else just so we can escape.
I swear too. I promise.
Man. All you've got is a promise, huh?
When I make a promise, I keep it. Trust me.
Please! You've got to trust us!
Alright. Fine. I'll trust you.
2 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
We're counting on you, Sigma.
You gotta choose ally!
Okay. Why don't you two just stay out here and then I can go ally or betray? Because then it's just down to me, really.
You promised!
With that, they turned and ran into the AB room second from the right. Yeah, they have nothing to gain from betraying me, so... Like, why would they even need to? Well, guess I should get moving. Lego? And does it immediately boot up, or do I have some second thoughts about this whole situation? Alice is still dead.
Remains until Ambidex game polling closes.
This all stemmed from making Clover trust that this all happened because of Radical 6. What's gonna happen? I had a decision to make. Should I trust Quark and Tenmyouji? Well, I could believe they were telling the truth and still betray them. That would bring my BP to 6. I'd be that much closer to 9. And choosing betray would guarantee that they wouldn't try and escape without the rest of us. Betrayal seemed like the safe bet, but...
Please! You've gotta trust us! You've gotta choose ally! You promised!
Tenmyouji I could betray easily enough. But Quark? the hell was I going to do?
10 seconds remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
Is it really that hard to be a good person?
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Time to ally.
Round 3 of the Ambidex game has been completed. Results will be displayed in the warehouse. Thank you for your participation. Ambidex gates now opening. Results from round 3 of the Ambidex game will now be displayed. Please direct your attention to the results screen.
Okay. Dum 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 dum. Lego. Uh-huh. Saw that coming from a mile away. What the fuck? I love how they did change that, though. Like, Tenmyouji and Quark's was slowed down. Because every other time it's been this vote on the solo, which I've always been a pair, so I've never had that occur. Cool. Yeah, Alice and Phi. Yeah. Theo's a prick. Luna and Clover betraying Kay is wild, too, but Clover escaping. Tenmyouji escaping with Clover. Oh, wait, no. Alice, unfortunately, doesn't... yeah. It would have just been Phi going against Dio. Okay. And I'm back down to 1 with Phi again.
Points have been assigned or subtracted accordingly. Please check your bracelet to see your updated bracelet points.
So 3 people are going to be escaping this time around. Hey! What the hell, guys? Why'd you betray me?
Quark had nothing to do with this. I made the vote.
Grandpa.
Alright, fine. Why'd you break your promise, Tenmyouji?
I only promised you one thing. We wouldn't open the number 9 door, even if we got 9 points.
But you said you'd ally. What? So you're not going to leave?
Not what I said. Of course we're going to leave.
What?
Look, see Clover over there?
Yep. Okay. I knew this was gonna occur when he said we weren't gonna open it up. God damn it, Clover. What? Don't tell me. Yeah. I guess she is escaping, excuse me. Because Alice is dead and she's got a job to do and whatever the fuck.
Oh no.
Jeez.
That bitch!
Wait. Quark and Tenmyouji have...
The words were barely out of her mouth when Tenmyouji and Quark ran past.
No! God damn it!
Clover, are you really going to leave? Well, yeah. Why else would I open the door?
But why?
I'm going to go call the others, so we can capture Zero Senior.
The others?
Tenmyouji, are you and Quark going too?
I guess more of her crew, whatever.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Sorry, everybody.
So Sigma, happy? I kept my promise. Clover opened the door, not me.
Like hell, I'm happy! That's some shady shit, Tenmyouji.
Say so. I have to get out of here, and that's that. He's got to pay for what he's done.
He?
Zero.
You mean you know who Zero Senior is?
Yeah. No point keeping it a secret now, I suppose. I know exactly who Zero Senior is.
Oh,
What?
brother. Who is it? Come on, spill the beans.
The number 9 door has been opened. It will remain open for 9 seconds.
Let's go. Come on, guys. Time to move.
Right.
Oh, wait! This is for you, Mr. Sigma.
Now you're giving me something special? Like, this is gonna make up for it. Quark held something out. Aw. I looked down at 2 pieces of folded paper. 2 pieces? What is this?
It's a letter. I wrote it in the director's office before the AB game.
Before the AB game. Okay, so when you two were together.
I wanted to tell you what kind of guy Grandpa is. So, read it, okay?
He pressed it into my hand.
See you later, Mr. Sigma.
Then he turned and ran toward the door, Tenmyouji and Clover following in his footsteps. I was so surprised by the letter that I didn't even try to stop them. Before I could think of anything to say.
See you.
Goodbye.
I would have thought Dio would have tried to stop them, but oh well.
The number 9 door has closed. This ends the nonary game. Thank you for your participation. As the game is over, all doors other than the number 9 door have been unlocked. Escape is not possible. Please enjoy your stay.
So Tenmyouji and Quark definitely saw the
Shit!
player, right? Right?
They're gone.
All we can do now is hope they bring help back.
Indeed.
I agree.
I looked down at Quark's letter, then slowly unfolded it. His handwriting was still slightly uneven, but he'd filled both pages with writing. I began to read. It was a really stormy day when he found me. Ah, okay, gotcha. Adoption. Gotcha. So he didn't have a child at all that produced Quark. So this really just has to be Junpei then. He said the rain was coming down so hard it almost hurt, but somehow he managed to hear a baby crying. I guess I must have been crying pretty loud. I'm sorry, I just have to get into it. He took me home and did his best to raise me, but he'd never been married or had a kid before, so I think it was really hard for him. He couldn't figure out how to mix the formula, so he was always carrying the directions around with him. Also, I guess I was a pretty picky eater, so if he didn't get the water to formula ratio just right, I wouldn't eat it. I guess I was kind of a pain, huh? But he didn't give up, and now here I am. But when he found me, I was really, really small, and he was worried that I might not make it. That's why he named me Quark. A quark is a really, really small thing, and I was really, really small too. Grandpa didn't need to worry though, because it turned out that I was pretty tough. When I was 1, I forgot I was sleeping in the bed of his truck, and drove off. He forgot I was sleeping, oh god. And drove off. I rolled out and went off the back, but I didn't even get scratched. Oh, wow. I started walking when I was 2, and when he wasn't looking, I fell down the stairs. I didn't get hurt then either. When I was 3, I got really sick. I had a super high fever for a week, but eventually I got better. I guess you could say I'm pretty lucky. Anyway, I didn't really have any more accidents after that. I was a pretty healthy kid. By the time I was 6, I'd started helping Grandpa out with his work. His job was to gather junk from abandoned buildings. Then, he'd fix it up or pull out the useful parts and sell them. There were plenty of abandoned buildings, but finding good stuff in them was hard. You had to know which parts were useful, or you could end up wasting a bunch of time. Every time I'd find something, he'd explain to me what it was, how it was supposed to work, how to fix it, all sort of things. Usually, though, I just wanted to finish up work so I could go to the theater. The theater came to our town once a week in a wagon. Huh. They'd show old news or movies. I went every single week, but Grandpa only went once in a while. And he'd only go weeks when when they showed movies. Okay, so I was definitely taken at 2028, right? In the year of 2028, that's when that lunar eclipse was supposed to happen. Junpei, that I'm believing to be, has definitely gone all this time without finding Akane. And Clover and Alice were taken a year. Did I ever say what year I was taken? Did I ever say what year I was taken to the other people? I think myself, Alice, and Clover are the ones that were cryogenically frozen. And only go weeks when they showed movies. Oh yeah, I didn't know that I'd been adopted until I was 7. One of those other kids on my block told me. I guess after Grandpa found me, he looked all over town to try and find somebody who'd take me. The kid from my block actually had a mom, and he'd asked her if she would take me too. I gotta admit, I was pretty shocked when I heard that. And there weren't a lot of kids with parents around, so hearing that someone lived with his actual mom was pretty impressive. I was also kind of surprised that Grandpa had tried to get someone else to take me. Did that mean he didn't want me? The kid who told me about Grandpa trying to get rid of me was a real jerk. He was totally spoiled, and he'd brag to everybody about how he had a mom. How he had a mom? He'd brag about that? Okay. He liked to come up to me while I was working and say stuff like, must be hard not having a mother. Try and do the same voice while doing another voice. It's such a weird thing. It never bothered me before, but after I found out that Grandpa had adopted me, I started to think that maybe he didn't really want me. If I could work on my own, then he could get rid of me. I was scared to know the truth, so I never asked him. And one day, he took me to a bar in our neighborhood. During the day, of course. He went there sometimes to drink scotch, but I'd never gone before. When we got in, he just walked up to the counter, and that grumpy look he has, and I thought, oh no, he's gonna make me work here. But I was wrong. I saw him pass something to the bartender, and then he picked me up and sat me down on the stool next to the counter. The stool was pretty high, especially for a 7-year-old kid. My legs just dangled off of it. It seemed really, really high to me, and I was pretty nervous. This is where the root beer floats or whatever come into play. Eventually, the bartender came back with a glass of scotch and another big glass full of something else. As I looked closer, I realized that the second glass was full of some sort of brown liquid, with a scoop of ice cream in it. It took me a full minute to realize what it was. A root beer float. I'd never seen one before. I was so surprised. Root beer was even more expensive than the nicest alcohol in the bar. To me and the other kids, it seemed more like an urban legend than a real drink. Okay, yes. Leading more to this dystopian era, thinking, yeah, root beer was even more expensive than the nicest alcohol in the bar. Interesting. Oh, but there it was, right in front of me. I stared at the float. I still wasn't sure if it was real at that point, and then I turned to look at Grandpa. He looked back at me. I didn't know what to do, so I turned to the bartender. He'd already turned around and moved off, though, so I figured he must have put the glass down in front of me on purpose. It still didn't seem like it could be real. I was just staring at it when Grandpa told me to hurry up and drink it before the ice cream melted. His gruff voice sounded like an angel's. Is this really mine? He nodded. Words can't describe how awesome it was. I'd never tasted anything like root beer before. The creamy sweetness of the ice cream made my entire head feel light. I felt like the luckiest boy in the whole world. It's not an exaggeration. I really thought that. The root beer float was delicious, but what made me even happier was Grandpa. When I looked over at him, he was smiling. I know that's gotta be hard for you to imagine, but he really was. Right then, I didn't care whether he just found me and adopted me or not. He'd brought me a root beer float. That made me way luckier than some kid who had a mother but never had tasted root beer. Of course, after we left the bar, he was the first kid I bragged to. So Grandpa and I were doing pretty good. Until the fight. I was in a super bad mood that day. I'd torn one of my shoes that morning, and some old drunk guy had yelled at me. All the junk I had found was totally useless. The day was almost over, and I was fed up. I just grabbed some random trash and I took it back to the house. When I showed what I'd found to Grandpa, he frowned. He started going through each thing I'd brought back, explaining why they were all useless. I got really mad and I just yelled, "I don't care!" Then he got mad and I couldn't take it anymore, so I ran away. I was pretty upset, and I started thinking that maybe Grandpa had only adopted me so he could raise me to work and make money for him. After a while, I went and hid in an abandoned building. But by then, I started to calm down and think that maybe I should go back and apologize. It started raining pretty hard, though, so I decided I should wait for it to stop. But that was just an excuse. The truth was that I was nervous. Part of me knew I'd done something wrong, but I didn't want to admit it. The rain didn't stop, though, so I just sat there staring out at the gloomy gray sky. I imagined Grandpa coming to get me. It kept raining all night, and he never showed up. I gave up waiting and decided it was time to go home. I was about halfway there when I heard somebody groaning. At first I thought I should just ignore it and not get involved, but I went over anyway and it was Grandpa. He was totally soaked. I could tell right away that he'd been there for a really, really long time. I yelled, and he opened his eyes a little bit. He smiled weakly and said he was glad I was safe. He spent all night out in the rain, looking for me. I felt awful. Grandpa had been out in the rain looking for me so long that he'd collapsed. That was horrible. He'd heard me crying in the rain, but I hadn't heard him. As I ran to get the doctor, I promised whatever God might be listening that I would only save Grandpa. I'd never ask for a root beer float ever again. He'd got a real bad fever and his temperature wouldn't go down for days. The doctor said if it kept up, he'd die. If he died, then I'd be all alone. There wouldn't be anybody left to care about me. The thought of that happening terrified me. Fortunately, I must have passed some luck on to my grandpa, because a week later, his fever finally broke. I was glad he wasn't going to die, but I was also a little scared. What if he had decided he didn't want a stupid kid like me anymore? My plan was to apologize as soon as he woke up, but when the moment came, my brain just stopped. Grandpa started to talk, and it took me a minute to realize he was apologizing. I didn't know what to think. He explained that he was an old man, and that meant he was probably going to die sooner rather than later. He was strict with me because he wanted to make sure I would be able to make it on my own after he was gone. But maybe he'd been a little too strict. All of the things I'd worried about had been stupid and selfish. Grandpa cared about me a whole lot. He'd been worried that I'd run off when I ran off, and he'd gone out of the rain to look for me. I tried to apologize, but when I opened my mouth, I just started crying. I don't think I've cried that much since I was a baby. He just smiled and patted my head. I asked him if he'd ever regretted adopting me. His eyes got all wide and he said, "Of course not." He told me that he was looking for a really important lady, and because of that, he'd had to give up on pretty much everything else in his life. But when he took me in and started raising me, He felt like he'd gotten some of what he'd lost back. That was when I decided I'd stay with him forever. Even if he said I couldn't. Cute little ending. So that's not the Tenmyouji ending, because I don't... Oh, no. The credits do play in this, and then we do get the text that it is the Tenmyouji ending. At least I think so. There we go. Yeah. Huh. Learning more backstory about different characters. It's definitely in a post-apocalyptic world where the disease has spread, but Clover... Well, why wouldn't Dio know about it? Maybe Quark doesn't really know about the disease per se. Tenmyouji did, though. And since Dio is a copy and he spent most of his life just like preparing and whatever, guess that makes sense why he wouldn't really know. Would it? Like, the story is starting, like, you know how I've described, like, as the story, like, starting to unfurl? It's like you take a wad of yarn, and then slowly, piece by piece, you're drawing out strings that have, like, the text on them, basically. Like, it's actually written on the side of it. And then you get the story, and then as it all, like, intertwines, like, as you're drawing it out and it becomes loose, and then you're, like, trying to figure out the story yourself, then after a while, you start to see that it's just one giant string that's a big circle. Kind of. But, like, it still takes its time. If that analogy makes any sense at all. I do like this story. And I'll probably, like I've been saying since the very beginning, I'll probably like it more as it, like, keeps going and I see more and more storylines and everything. But I don't understand if Tenmyouji is Junpei, would he have had more time to... He wouldn't really have practiced his abilities, right? Yeah, no, that's not a thing. Because he was so focused on finding, if root beer veritas. What? In root beer veritas? I have no idea what that is. But this is indeed the Tenmyouji ending. I don't know if Tenmyouji is Junpei wouldn't have any time to have been practicing his morphogenetic fields, although his was different and he could influence the past from the future, but the past version of Akane could take information from the future to the past. I don't know. And then there's a Luna that just seems to randomly understand some things. I don't know. Like, it seems like it's very buried. So I don't know what else to think right now. And that Tenmyouji ending goes right there. So I'm going to leave this episode here, and that means that I only have... actually, no, there's also the bad ending that I need to experience instead. Even though this is also technically a bad ending because I'm just stuck there. But I also have the 2 separate routes with Phi, and then all those other locks on this end. That might be the Luna ending? I don't know. Huh. Oh well. It was a interesting storyline, and Tenmyouji is just a good old fart, isn't he? Oh well. Thanks for coming out. In the meantime, I'll leave you with one final message as a final goodbye and a final send-off for this episode. In that being, Have a nice day.